Sports. What's up, everybody? Welcome to Stuff About Sports. We are here live on YouTube. I am the Facebook felon Jerm, and I didn't mean to do that. And that is that nice debut on YouTube. Great. This is great.
Yeah.
That is the prettier Corey. That's Bert in the building. What's up, man?
I'm doing good, man. What's going on with you?
Not much, man. I'm living the life, as you can see.
I was gonna say you're on what they play Saturday. You're on a 3-day just happy hangover of your team going to play for the. And you got to be honest with you and we'll get into it. But after seeing Kansas City play on Sunday, you can't help but feel incredibly confident in how you're going to play against them this weekend.
100%. We'll get into it later, but I'm not. I told you a couple shows ago that the only two teams I was scared of were the Colts and the Titans, and they're both out. I do not fear the Kansas City Chiefs, and I will explain why later. Trisha, what's up?
Yes.
Honorary Give Us a Shot Network member, Trish. Brandon, you made it, buddy. What's up, man? We've missed you. Yes.
Mike
Everybody,
EP.
What's up?
Good. New platform. People are finding their way. I'm liking this so far. This is really good. You know, you had that thing like, all right, no more Facebook. Let's do this YouTube. But nice to see everybody's following along. Thanks so much for giving us a follow and watching. We really, really appreciate it.
Absolutely. Bert is absolutely right. We are trying to build this new thing on YouTube. It's the way to go. So thank you. Please like, share, subscribe with all your friends and just help us build this thing. I mean, we started last week. We're already up to 150 subscribers, which is amazing. Our fastest growing platform is YouTube, and it's only because of you. And I went over this on Overtime before, but thank you very much. You could still share it to Facebook. People can still come through Facebook and Twitter and all those other things. But our home for right now is going to be YouTube. On today's show, we will be recapping the NFL. We'll be talking. We're down to the final four teams, Bert. This is an exciting time, especially for Bills Mafia fan like myself. I'm super excited about that. We will go over some news in Major League Baseball. The Mets found themselves in a sticky situation.
Quite the pickle came up, to be honest with you. Yeah.
Gotcha. It's a hard spot they're in. And so here we go. And then NBA top 5, bottom 3. NBA's alive and kicking. We have a new super team, and they look unstoppable. Let's see where they land on our top 5, bottom 3 list. But first, we will go over some of the best stuff from the sports week. Bert, what you got?
First things first, UFC making headlines yet again. They've just announced that they're not going to punish their fighters for marijuana use unless they believe that a fighter is intentionally using it to enhance their performance. Don't know what fighter would do that. Don't know what any athlete would do that unless it's more of a focus thing. But obviously next steps as more states go on to legalize it. This is just one of the steps in sports as they've seen other professional sports do the same, that they will no longer punish their fighters for marijuana use. Now, the rule is strictly for UFC, so any other athletic commissions or international governing bodies, of course, can have differing rules, but they tend to follow whatever the promoter is. So if UFC says it's good, they'll undoubtedly not have a problem with it whatsoever.
And they should have a problem with it. It's such a slow-moving iceberg with this marijuana thing. Like they should know better, But these private leagues have their own rules, and they'll eventually make it to the point where it's like, whatever, man. That's up to you. Cool. Hey, you know what? What does NBA stop doing that in the bubble? A lot of players, it didn't seem to be a problem for the NBA, so we'll see what happens. Speaking of NBA, I have criticized this guy, and I will continue to criticize this guy professionally, but socially, as a activist, I guess you want to call him, Kyrie Irving continues to do the right thing. I will commend him, even though I have a problem with how he's conducting his own personal business. But he went out of his way about 5 or 6 months ago, and it just came out today that he bought a home, or recently it came out that he bought a home for George Floyd's family. Now, this is not the first time he has done something like this. Back in July, he donated $1.5 million, I believe, to all of the WNBA players who chose not to play the remainder of their season in the bubble. So, Kyrie Irving, you can say what you want about how he talks to the media and how, his actions kind of affect the fans and his team, but you can't talk about he's not a bad dude. So personally,
he's looking out certainly for those in rougher situations in itself. This was honestly great to see. especially now knowing that, like, obviously we dogged him last week, and then, it came out that he was fined heavily for it and missing game checks for his missing games and lost a lot of money. And then, to find out that he did this kind of under the radar because it happened so long ago, that was certainly very, very awesome to see in itself. Odd ends of the spectrum, though, when it comes to athletes. This one I'm about to announce was incredibly selfish, and a lot of people are going to be like, who? So Cleat Keller is he's Olympian. Exactly. He's an Olympic swimmer for Team USA, has competed in multiple games. They actually caught him in that, I'll call it like a White Lives Matter protest, may as well, when they stormed the Capitol. What was it? No, 2 weeks ago at this point.
Yeah.
So, look, he was not only there, and they found footage and pictures of him, but he was wearing his Olympic team jacket while doing so. So he was arrested and is currently facing federal charges for violent entry and disorderly conduct. An absolute moron, and it's a shame, honestly, he ever represented this country in any of our games, and undoubtedly he won't be doing it in the future anytime soon.
Situational awareness is key. If you're going to do something like that, don't wear your Olympic jacket. And if that's your personal views, I'm never going to attack somebody for how they feel. I can call them dumb or immoral or whatever it is, but if you're going to wear the Olympic jacket, you have to understand what that represents. You got to be more self-aware there. So shame on him. He's going to get what he deserves. So, oh well.
100%.
Speaking of somebody who gets something they deserve, PGA golfer Justin Thomas was dropped by Ralph Lauren as a sponsor for him. He uttered a homophobic slur during the Century Tournament of Champions last week, I believe. Or it might have been, earlier this week, probably like last Sunday or Monday or whenever it was. But they announced, dude, they're not playing games with these, the offending people thing. You can't just say things like that. I get it. You were raised that way. We all were. We all used to say things that, didn't bother us. But guess what? Times have changed. You have to, grow with the times. And, hopefully this is not only a teachable moment for him, but future athletes who will be in his position in the future.
Yeah, I mean, look, let's be real with ourselves. It wasn't okay for any of us to say those things a long time ago. Which, I mean, you can't use the excuse like, oh, that was, how it was brought up, or I'm just used to saying it. I don't mean offense to it. It's just a word, because two groups of people, they're not just words, and they are incredibly offensive. And honestly, I'm for being more strict about this stuff, for the change to happen, and for it to be like, okay, no, I can't say those things. Just pick a different one, pick a different obscenity. There's tons out there, different variations of the F word. I mean, just do anything else but that. Stop trying to, use those words that hurt different groups of people in itself. And a great example of, you're using different curse words for different situations. And my last thing, and best stuff about Sports Weekend, is the Flyers forward Jake Voracek was in a post-game interview. I think it was Saturday. I
actually have the clip. You want to hear it?
Do you? Yeah, let me set it up first. So there's essentially a Philly beat writer for one of the local publications who covers the Flyers, and has over time written headlines such as, Jake Voracek should be traded for Kate Smith, referring to Kate Smith's rendition of, God Bless America, which they stopped playing because it found out that actually she had racist roots in itself, but that's a story for a different time. But has criticized him consistently. So when he got up to ask the question, Jake didn't even pull any punches. We can go ahead and roll that tape, because I absolutely love this.
This for Jake. 2 games in, Jake, how different does the season feel, if at all, given the circumstances of the off season and the condensed schedule and everything?
Doesn't matter what I say, Mike. You're going to write fucking shit every time. It doesn't matter what you say. Yeah, it feels different. I mean, we got 4 points out of the first 2 games. I wasn't even going to answer your question because you are such a weasel. It's not even funny. Next question.
Dude, I love it. He comes out.
Charlie O'Connor, you're on with Jake and
Guns blazing, just like, it doesn't matter. I'm so tired of your BS. I want nothing. I don't even want to give you an answer because you're going to spin it one way, shape, or form. So he comes out, and I forget what other forward was with him, next to him, the player sitting next to him. But he takes a sip of water, and when Jake goes in and says those profanities, his eyes bulge out of his head. That wasn't supposed to say that. But then he pivots, and he's just like, all right, let me give you an answer. And then halfway through the answer is just like, I don't even know why I'm still doing this. No, you're a weasel. Let's not do it again. So look, honestly, I was, when I saw it, of course I was entertained, 100%. And you like to see that happen, especially when you because I dug in, I was like, I need to see what this guy wrote about him for him to say this, because you're a professional athlete. You're used to questions. You're used to repetitive questions, sometimes stupid questions. So you should be able to conduct yourself because you're representing the team. So I was like, there has to be more to this. And once I looked up the headlines, I'm completely on Jake Voracek's side, even though as an athlete, you're paid to deal with the media. I absolutely love to see it. The Rangers, I'm a Ranger fan. There's a writer for, Larry Brooks for the Post. He covers the Rangers, and a lot of times it's not favorable stuff. And he's gone back at different coaches and players, and they've gone back at him too when asking questions. It's one of those things. I mean, the media is going to ask you stuff, and how you respond is everything. But man, this is kind of a win for them. Just kind of tired of getting crapped on, more or less.
Yeah, I'm all for athletes fighting back. I mean, it's in their contracts that they have to talk to the media, and it doesn't say they have to be nice to them. It doesn't say they have to, we've seen Marshawn Lynch give one-word answers. We've seen basketball players give one-word answers. Nobody said you had to be cordial. If the guy has a problem with the reporter, hell yeah, man, go out there and curse him out. And I think the sport is more interesting. It certainly got me interested. I loved it. So hopefully more people aren't scared of this guy. And the best, there's two really underrated parts of that thing. He curses him out. He leaves the floodgates, and then he stoops down to call him a weasel. Like, what kind of?
I know.
The weasel part is hilarious in itself. And then the moderator goes, "Okay, Jake, this is," he just moves on.
Yeah.
It's just funny. Go back and listen to the clip. There's so many underrated funny parts about it. I love it. So my last thing from the sports week, Las Vegas Raiders owner Mark Davis made a lot of questionable moves since he's owned the Raiders. But the two things that he's done well, one thing was moving them out of Oakland into Las Vegas and really popping that market off. The second thing he did recently was buy the WNBA Las Vegas Aces. They were owned by MGM, not really promoted well, not really making any money. Mark Davis actually is a fan of the Aces. It's one of the more popular WNBA teams, but MGM just doesn't know how to run it. Mark Davis and his wife have been frequently seen at the games. And he's like, you know what? I'm going to buy it. And no NFL owners ever owned a WNBA team before. I'm really interested in the partnership with the NFL, how that would work in the WNBA's favor. Mark Davis is trying to corner the Las Vegas market by himself, and I think that's amazing.
But this is what you like to see in something like that, right? And I almost want to draw a parallel to Mark Cuban, and here's why. You like to see owners that are actual fans of the sport. And I know it sounds crazy because you think you own a team, you should act like a fan, but that's why I draw the line to Mark Cuban. If they're seen going to the games and they're seen really enjoying it, and now they're going to invest this money into it, that's a passion project for them because it's something they enjoy. Whereas other owners may come off as being just in it for the money, not really enjoying it. Like you don't see them courtside, you don't see them involved in the game unless there's a playoff game that's sending you to the Super Bowl and there's a trophy presentation. Then you see the owners on the field. Shah Khan from the Jags. He's always on the field every now and then too, because he loves football in itself. So, for me, you just love to read it because if they're taking that on, they're going to do it right with the means that they have. So it's just going to continue to be a success.
Absolutely, it's good stuff. Not good stuff happening in the world of Major League Baseball. As a Mets fan, I am embarrassed. I'm not sure exactly how to begin this story. I don't know where it came from, but we're having bad luck hiring guys who've had previous success in other places, thinking it would translate here in New York. As soon as we try to take a step forward, it seems that we take two steps back. And I am referring, first it was Beltran, and he got caught up in the Astros cheating scandal. And now it's Jared Porter, man, general manager, freak boy, did some nasty, dirty, creepy things. I don't condone harassing women. I don't think it's cool. I don't think money doesn't make you a different person. It just kind of emphasizes who you already are. So that tells me this guy has been a major creep for a long time. If you don't know the story I'm referring to, Jared Porter was caught sending like 60 messages in a month to a foreign reporter, dirty stuff.
It was 3 week span.
3 weeks, including 3 weeks. A picture of his gray, nasty penis. It's disgusting. There's no place for it in baseball, and there's absolutely a special place in hell for Jared Porter.
No. We ain't taking this guy. We already got Jared from Subway. We are not taking on another Jared. I got to build a Subway next to the to the president Hall of Presidents and next to Steve Jobs' little Apple store. So we are not taking on this Jared. The J-Man's going to have to take him.
Oh my God, ladies and gentlemen, we have been joined by Satan himself, Lucifer. Mr. Lucifer. Do you mind if I call you Lucy, sir?
Great. I'm a huge fan of your work, Jerm.
Oh, thank you, Lucy. I really appreciate it. This is great.
Huge fan.
Did you get the shirt I sent you?
I did.
Oh, maybe this is awesome.
Maybe this year. Really, it's always my year.
It is always your year, especially when there's guys like Art Briles and Jared Porter and things of the like in the world of sports.
Your Facebook page.
Thank you. Thank you.
So Satan, I just need your take on D picks overall. And obviously I'm assuming you're a Met fan because you're Satan. You know, it is what it is. But
Yankee fan. We have Monument Park right over here. Joe DiMaggio runs it for us.
But look, overall, when you look at this situation, right? 2016 is when this happened, and
I knew about it.
And it was an exchange with a reporter, a foreign correspondent, nonetheless, who didn't understand really U.S. customs or U.S. I guess casual interaction is the way they put it, where Jared Porter was then the head of scouting for the Chicago Cubs and was a source for this individual, and would frequently text every now and then. And then, of course, being the individual that he is, would send text messages like, oh, hey, do you have a boyfriend yet? Are you interested in me? Do you want to see my picture? And started out as selfies and then eventually moved from there. She stopped responding after he was getting a little bit too creepy, just sending pictures of like his legs on a bed with his bulge hanging out and shit. But then, like, after stop responding, 3 weeks go by, 62 text messages later, still no response. Things like, hey, you don't want to talk to me. Hey, you're mad. Just question marks. And then at that point, around the 3 week mark is when he decides to send a picture of his wang straight up to her. Again, like as if he couldn't take the hint before. Now, in hell, is there a playbook that says after going unanswered for 3 weeks, the sure thing to get her back, send a picture of your dong?
No, absolutely not. It fails on all levels. Just ask Jared from Subway. It's not a good look. We had to take on the contract of Anthony Weiner, ironically, also named Weiner. He's coming to jail. And look, I don't know if you hear my phone going off, but Jared's been texting me. His people have been texting me all day. We're not signing this guy. He's going to end up in purgatory. The J-Man's going to have to step in, maybe save him. I don't know. It's not going to be – these gates are closed to Jared Porter, that's for sure.
Yeah. We might have to put in a call to the JC on upstairs and see if we can do something to help this guy.
Yeah,
Jared out. He has me. Not surprising. Everybody has.
He has.
I'm sure he does. Everybody does. So, did you tell him that? Hey, maybe after that 61st text message has been ignored, you should probably stop before you hit the 62nd. Like she's probably not going to answer the 62nd.
He's still sending it. He swears that they're just stock photos.
No way.
He got said stock photos.
I got to be honest with you. Even if it's a stock photo, I still don't think it's good to just send off, Yeah,
I had to verify my account, and I never saw that stock photo in it.
It's weird. It's like, he's acting like a 17-year-old horny kid. Like it's a –
they got more game.
Well, yeah, I know I had more game at 17. This is a classic cut case of lame behavior. It doesn't no wonder why the Mets have how can you be in charge? It makes no sense how this guy has been successful in the league. If this is he just didn't start this behavior. He's probably been doing it. I wouldn't be surprised if we had some other people. Damn, he's blowing you up. I wouldn't be surprised if other women would come out and say, yeah, he's done this.
Look, Jerm, I wouldn't be surprised if other cases come out too. And the reason it's coming out now is because the woman, the individual, the person who's anonymous finally gave ESPN the green light to run with it because she was their only source. And I think when you go back to it, we kind of covered it when we spoke about Dan Snyder and his actions. Yeah. When you have a boys club type environment like that, and it's widely accepted, people feel like they can do whatever they want. And you add power to that too. So when you add being the head of scouting, a source for this individual, you know she's going to have to answer your text messages. So why not just fire it off? I mean, that's where it comes from. It's absolutely inexcusable. No one should face that at all, let alone when they're working. And furthermore, I when I heard the story come out, and anytime you hear this story come out, dating even back to the Brett Favre game, the Brett Favre days and his incident, it's like, aren't we past this, guys? Like, let's be honest, guys. What about sending a picture, either flaccid or fully erect, of your penis? Do you think is a go? Like, has anybody ever had a reaction to a picture like that makes you want to keep doing it? Every single story I hear, and every single time I hear for women, like, no, they don't want it. They're tired of getting them. Please stop doing it. And yet here we are. We still have individuals sending these pictures off as though it's going to make somebody's day. And I got to be honest with you, I don't know if it's making anybody's day.
He's not even wanted here, and we accept everybody. But lately, with all the embezzlements and people faking college and saying they're this and that, believe it or not, we're liberals down here. But we are not taking this, man. So enjoy purgatory, Jared. We have our Jared. Jamal, this was good to meet an idol of mine.
Lucy, thank you. It's
hey, man, I got like you and Babe Ruth. So, and he's down here too.
I bet he is. I know he is. Listen, Lucy, it's fans like you that gives me the strength to keep doing what I'm doing. Thank you for supporting the show. Thank you for being who you are. Keep Jared out of hell. We're going to keep him out of heaven. We're going to keep him tell him to stop texting you. Yeah. All right. And since you're down there, say hello to Art Briles for us. Okay. Thanks.
Okay. We got the Apple iPhone 20 down here. Thanks to Steve Jobs. So
tell Steve Jobs I said thanks. Tell him his kids are doing fine without him.
I got to golf. I'm going golfing with Walt Disney. I'll talk to you later.
Okay.
Thanks, Satan.
Thanks, Satan. That was Satan, everybody, the king of hell, joining us live on Stuff About Sports. You never know what kind of hot guests we're going to get, literally hot guests. Yeah. It doesn't get any hotter than Lucifer, king of hell.
I mean, and when he denounces the D pick, right? I mean, honestly, that should just be a wake-up call for all guys out there who think it's acceptable. When Satan's coming out and saying, hey, let's not send this around anymore, then you need to switch it up a little bit.
If you're sending, I've never sent my rooster to anybody other than my wife. I've never done that. And I've been married 11 years. So if you want to spice the marriage up, but that's my wife. You know what I mean? Like it's not just some person that I'm talking to or seeing. And I would never send it to a woman who's blatantly ignoring my messages. Like I wouldn't hit her with the, hey, how you doing? Yeah. And then if she's not responding to that, and then in his head, he said, you know what? I'm just going to whip this eggplant out and that'll do it. Like, I don't understand that thought process.
That's the thing. Like, and I don't know if you've had a chance to look at the transcript. And at first, she said she was trying to be nice, and from where she's from in her country, it's acceptable for friends to send selfies back and forth and just be fun and bubbly when they're talking. But where she started to get weirded out is when he was just sending pictures of like his bulge, like overall. And then that's when she stopped. And then you're right, dude, weeks go by. Unanswered texts go by. It's not acceptable, but I can almost see if he had sent it earlier, like right after, like we're talking bulge pick, still conversation, and then it doesn't make it right, but it makes more sense than going 3 weeks and 60 text messages later than sending it out of the blue as though that's what's going to change her mind. I mean, look, you've clearly already creeped her out and sent incredibly inappropriate messages to a colleague, nonetheless. So yeah, I mean, look, bold move on his part, but super disgusting.
Is his career over?
It absolutely should be. There's no way he can hold another job. The sad part is, and look, all victims, of course, are different. Some want to go to it right away. She was worried about jeopardizing her career, which, when you face a boys club like that, when you come out with that, even with evidence, it's tough to.
And she's foreign.
and she's
She's
foreign.
like-
It's tough to make that change and for change to actually happen. I mean, look, we spoke extensively when that whole ring came out about Daniel Snyder and the way he treats women that work with him and everything else in football. But so she held on to it because she didn't think it was going to may have any effect or any change was going to happen, and she was scared of losing her job. She ended up unfortunately developing like severe anxiety, sleepless nights, and then she ended up moving back to her home country and changing fields, all because of this incident, all because that she was mistreated and basically sexually harassed while she was trying to do her job, which is super sad. You're driving out of her what could have been a passion and a great flourishing career here, and then she goes back home, has to change jobs because of all the anxiety built up. It's absolutely unacceptable. And because of that, he will hopefully never hold a job again in baseball. I mean, at this point, he's probably made a bunch of money. I hope to see him like stocking shelves somewhere. To be honest with you, it's just inexcusable.
Yeah, money doesn't mean anything. You shouldn't have done it.
Yeah.
Mike, what's up, man? I don't know where you were. You were supposed to join us tonight, but we were actually joined by Satan. He helped us out on the Jared Porter. He kind of broke it down for us, but you could catch that on the replay of Stuff About Sports here on YouTube and all of your social media feeds. Brandon, after the first few texts and not getting a response, absolutely. I mean, and I'm not victim shaming. I'm not telling her in hindsight what to do. She probably could have. It probably would have helped her if she would have said, "Hey, stop this." I get powerful guy. Mm-hmm. I wonder, like, then, because either two things were going to happen. He would have stopped, or he would have kept going, and then it would have made it worse. Yeah, which would have been better for her, because now she explicitly told him to stop. But I get, and I know that I'm doing a hindsight, like, Monday morning quarterback thing, but I mean, but Brandon's right here, and Bert, you were right. Like, stop, stop doing that. Don't do that. Like, don't send any woman that's not your wife or somebody that you're actually in a relationship or talking to pics and text like that. It doesn't make any sense for him to do. So.
Jerm, I hate to say it, I had this same thought too. It's like, like at first, why wouldn't you, immediately? But to the same point, I mean, you do get those that feel uncomfortable and they don't want to ruin their career. But also in her case too, and being a journalist, he's a great source. He was telling her even about trades that were about to happen in itself. So it's almost like, so do I tell him to stop and then lose out a source, and then there go my stories, there goes everything? Like, am I going to get anything else? Is he going to ice me out of anything Cubs related at this point? And at that point, eliminating your job. So it's super shitty of her or him to put her in that position. And of course, the way everything unfolded, I will say, out of all of this, the Mets and Steve Cohen handled this swiftly and like an effing boss. Came out late last night. By 8 a.m. this morning, Uncle Stevie came out and said he's gone. We took care of it, and he has said we have no room for this type of conduct here. I meant what I said when I took over the team. We're going to do things the right way, and honestly, they handled it great, clean break. And a lot of times you see individuals demoted or going through some sort of sensitivity training. He's like, no, we're good. We can do this without you. So I applaud Steve Cohen and the Mets for handling this like professionals, which is sad that we have to say this because there are other teams that don't do it like this, but no, good job, Mets.
Yeah, it makes me extremely proud of being a Mets fan. It reminds me of when Adam Silver first got to the NBA, and that was when the Donald Sterling tape came out with his racism, and Adam Silver immediately reacted. And it reminds me a lot like that. It gives you a lot of confidence in, especially as a Mets fan who has dealt with years of being second fiddle, being lower rate, and now it feels like we're turning a corner. I know you're a Yankees fan, and I know but I think you can see that things are changing with the Mets, and it definitely always starts at the top. And the fact that Uncle Stevie was able to come out here and correct a mistake, and obviously he didn't know this guy prior to hiring him, but the moment you show your true colors, he wasn't scared to act. And he did it. And so we'll find a new general manager and we'll be all the better for it. So good stuff. NFL, we are down to the final four teams. We have the Green Bay Packers and the Tampa Bay Buccaneers. Green Bay actually hosting its first NFC title game, which is an unbelievable fact that I heard today. And I'm like, wow, really? They've always been on the road when it comes to the NFC title games. It's a shame that the one quarterback that from Tampa Bay that they would have the advantage over is the guy who played 20 years in New England and is used to the cold weather.
It's the first thing I thought about too. I was just like, all right, they're going to host it. They're going to get a team and a quarterback not used to playing in cold. What? Oh no. So yeah, TV knows what it's about. He's got it. He understands. Who knows how his receivers or his defense reacts to.
Well,
and I thought that shocking too.
Gronk and Antonio Brown.
I could have sworn they hosted the NFC title when the Giants played them and beat them to go on the first time, or at least not the first time, but the third time to the Super Bowl. Now I'm trying to rack my brain and see who the Giants beat to go on to the Super Bowl.
Seattle.
Oh, okay. Okay.
Now, like you said, now the Bucs actually have a couple of advantages. They have Tom Brady, as we've mentioned. They have Rob Gronkowski, who was with Tom Brady, who's used to playing in the cold. Mm-hmm. And then we have Antonio Brown, who played in Pittsburgh, who's also used to playing in the cold. So, I mean, it'd be hard pressed for me to believe that Mike Evans and Chris Godwin, they're so great that I think they can overcome that. But it's still, you're facing a whole team. You know, I don't know where the offensive and defensive linemen have come from Tampa. I know they have a bunch of moving parts, but you're facing a Green Bay team that is firing on all cylinders. So it'll be very interesting to see how that game plays out. Who do you have in that game?
The Packers still.
Me too.
I do.
Aaron Rodgers is too great. He's playing too great right now. Tom Brady
too, right? And Brady, look, Brady had a really good game, but I think Drew, I hate to say it because it was his last game in the NFL, and we all know it. It's certainly his last game in a Saints uniform.
Yeah.
But Drew Brees lost that game for the Saints. And I think Adam's watching, dude. Adam from What Off Season Podcast, huge Saints fan. If you disagree with me, let me know. And that would maybe put some perspective. But when I'm watching that game, I texted the group. I said, Drew Brees sucks because he didn't look good. His passes were off. His accuracy wasn't there. He didn't look mentally like Drew Brees. He only threw one of the 2 touchdown passes. The other one was Tampa Bay's old quarterback. So it's like it was weird for me to see in a hype game like that, Drew Brees mentally break down. But I think that the lack of production in offense from the Saints was more detrimental, and that's what led to the win overall. Now, you know, Tom spread the ball around. There was a lot of offense on that side too. But when they're going up against Green Bay in Green Bay, I think it's going to be all Aaron Rodgers. Now, I know the last time these two teams met in the regular season, Green Bay got stomped out. But if you do take a look at the latter weeks, Green Bay is a much different team, and Aaron Rodgers is even more locked in than what he was before. So that's why, I mean, even last week I said it when you had that power mishap, and I was telling everybody, I was like, I think, you know, whoever goes up against Green Bay is going to lose, and Green Bay is going to find themselves in the Super Bowl.
Yeah, Brandon. Yes, absolutely. I think we know the answer to that question. For some reason, Tom Brady is still playing football at a high level. Now, I will say that watching that game, it definitely looked like 2 old guys playing football.
I mean, I don't know. Tom looks pretty young still. He looks younger than he did last year.
But even his style of play, I was watching it. I was like, man, it's not the same. Mm-hmm. Now, luckily, his team is stacked, and Bruce Arians came out and yeah, absolutely, that was cute. The pass, Mike says the best pass tonight was Brady to Little Breeze. Absolutely,
you like to see those moments.
When I saw that, when I saw that, I was like, yeah, it's over for Drew. There's no way. Mm-hmm. So what was I saying? Oh, Tom, I think Bruce Arians said, I let Tom coach the team. And because they asked about the turnaround, because they weren't playing very well earlier in the year. Mm-hmm. Bruce Arians said, I let Tom coach the team, and they didn't let him do that in New England. And I found that very interesting, because how else would he get that information other than Tom Brady? Yeah. So it's interesting that Tom is essentially a player coach when it comes to the offense. That he'll be able to muster up something, especially now, knowing that going into the cold weather, I think they will lean more on Tom Brady's expertise, and we'll see.
Yeah, I mean, Tom, this is nothing new. I mean, he was basically calling the plays, when he was with the Patriots in itself and constantly working. So, I mean, we'll see how we'll see how it plays out. I got to be honest with you, it's sticking with me. The Giants beat the Packers in Lambeau for the NFC Championship. I'm almost
in Lambeau?
In Lambeau. Someone who's watching, if you want to do research and correct me, but I just Googled it myself. That's why when I heard it last week, I think it was Joe Buck that said it. or whoever was announcing like they're going to host it for the first time, I was like, no, because I remember Tom Coughlin's red face, and I remember Lawrence Tynes' kick, and Steve Weatherford, who was the punter who held the kick too, going nuts because they knew it sent them right to the Super Bowl. And I was trying to think who they played before that. I know I think they played Atlanta in the wild card, then Dallas, and then Green Bay, and then that brought them in. I just searched 2007 NFC Championship game, and it was
because I'm sorry, Aaron Rodgers Packers have never hosted.
Gotcha. Yep. Okay. Cool. No. That's fine, because you know what? When I heard it when I was watching the game too, I said the same thing. I was like, this can't be. But now I remember that was the announcer did say, no, this is the first time Aaron Rodgers is hosting a game. But it's weird to say that instead of a team. Like, who cares? Like, the quarterback never hosted it, but he's played in them. So I mean, what gives a shit?
Before we move on to the other game, I was looking at Drew Brees' stats, and I was kind of wondering where he places all time. Now, I am a believer that a lot of like winning Super Bowls and things like that are a team statistic. Even though the quarterback will always get a lot of the credit and a lot of the blame when things don't work out.
Yeah.
And I mean, you look at the top of these leaderboards. I mean, Drew Brees, completions, touch, a lot of these stats that matter, he's at the top. Do you view him as a compiler, or is he literally an all-time great? Because I think if I took Drew Brees and Tom Brady, Peyton Manning, whoever you want to throw in there, at the height of their powers on a neutral field, playing one game, I think I would take Drew Brees. I just think he is the most pure quarterback, I would say, in terms of the technique and the skill of playing quarterback. He might be the best I've ever seen.
Yeah. So look, it's a little weird to answer this question, because look, as a Giant fan, a lot of people make the argument that the only reason Eli Manning's making it to the Hall of Fame is because he has 2 Super Bowls. And look, it certainly doesn't hurt his case, but if you look at his numbers standalone, he's got great numbers in itself. Yeah. Mm-hmm. To me, and what I take into consideration mentally, is if you're a quarterback, and yes, he's got the 1 Super Bowl, but they've always had great seasons. But on top of that, you look at players like an Aaron Rodgers or Tom Brady, and then you have a Drew Brees or even a Peyton Manning, where you have these quarterbacks that yes, from a mechanic standpoint, just look the part and they look like they have the finesse. But also what I think is key is making names of their receivers that no one has heard about before. And if you go down the list of the receivers, and sure, they've had, big time receivers, but I mean, dude, Aaron Rodgers, Tom Brady, Peyton Manning, Drew Brees, a lot of times you associate these great receiving careers with those quarterbacks, plain and simple. And Drew is no exception to that. I mean, how many stars have we seen come out of there? And not just at the receiver position, but also tight end. I mean, Jimmy Graham. Jimmy Graham left New Orleans and then what? He had a stint on the Bears, he had a stint in Seattle, and was barely a factor there. Sure, you could chalk it up to his offense first,
and everybody thought, oh my God, he's with Russell Wilson.
Yes.
Never really did anything there. Then went to Chicago, had a little bit of success. I mean, but nothing.
He had a touchdown the last game of the season, and everybody figured, that might be the last touchdown pass that Jimmy Graham ever catches. But you look at players like that, and it's just, I mean, it's some people talk about the offensive calls. What's that?
Had Marcus Colston for a long time, who was the pre Michael Thomas. Like he was like the Michael Thomas prototype, and then they said, okay, this is what needs to be improved on Marcus Colston, and then all of a sudden Michael Thomas came about, because they were essentially the same player. Just Thomas has better hands, and obviously he's a great receiver. So I
mean, if you look at his numbers, it's their stats, and the thing about NFL stats is we can argue them until we're blue in the face, either for or against different candidates in itself. But honestly, I think he's certainly top 10, and if not, maybe top 5. I mean, it'd be tough to argue against it.
He's 4 to 6 to me. For me personally, I would have to really sit down, but I mean, I don't. Again, I think of these guys at the height of their powers. A guy who's had multiple 70% completion seasons, like only person to do that by a lot. The amount of yards he's amassed, it's just. But then you sit there and think 15 years of Drew Brees and Sean Payton, who get a lot of this credit. Yeah. They only got 1 Super Bowl. I think only 1 Super Bowl appearance. It's like, I know they have had a lot of bad luck in some of these games, but it's kind of hard to
had a lot of bad calls too. I mean, they were kind of screwed out of a Super Bowl, or screwed out of a Super Bowl appearance, I'll say.
Yeah. Well, listen, that's the past. Yes. I'm here to talk about the future.
Let's go.
and the future is blue. It is blue, baby.
Mhm.
Buffalo Bills, my boy Blue, Josh Allen, proving the haters wrong yet again. And Bert, as you know, my brother, I love telling the people I told you so. So please remind the people what I've been saying for weeks, that Baltimore is not good, man.
No.
They're not good.
Yeah, look, I mean, we can go back even to before the season started. And granted, you're a Bills fan, but you're also a realist too. So if you know that there's holes, especially at a quarterback position, you're going to call it and you're going to say, look, I like my Bills because I'm a Bills fan, but I'm a little bit weary. But no, since June, July, August, you have been obviously riding it hard and saying that, now that you have Stephon Diggs and a couple other puzzle pieces, this team is going to be the one to watch out for. And everybody, including me, slept on it. And then throughout, we are awoken. We've become woke by the Bills Mafia and circling the wagon. And yes, the Ravens, not necessarily a good team. And I said it last week, you had 3 teams in that division, all with great records, all with the same schedule in the Browns, the Ravens, and the Steelers, all of which nowhere to be found right now. So, I mean, it goes to show that the Ravens, were they really a contender? They just have easy schedule and, a division they can beat up on along with everybody else. Or, now that they've faced the Bills and their early exit, I can't say early exit. I mean, they made it far, but look, it is what it is. The Bills are now advancing against Kansas City, who didn't look their best. And you can say bye week, it either hurts teams or it helps teams. And in my eyes, I thought it was going to certainly help them, and especially with the way Andy Reid prepares for games and being one of the top coaches ever. But it did not, it didn't help them whatsoever. It also didn't help that Patrick Mahomes out with a concussion. But Chad Henne.
Anything's possible, man.
One of the most underrated quarterbacks to ever be passed around the NFL and known for wasting seasons in teams like Miami. To have his shot like this, honestly, this as a sports fan is what you love to see. Almost like on that Nick Foles level type stuff. Main quarterback goes down. Number 1 quarterback, by the way, league MVP, Super Bowl winner quarterback, go down, and you come in and you become like the Rudy, the savior of this team to advance them. And obviously hope Patrick Mahomes clears protocols. He's in that process right now. But even before that, Mahomes, he looked good, but they didn't look at that level as they have been playing. So I said it at the top of this show. You have to feel incredibly confident going into it. And for me now rooting for the Bills, I feel confident for you in going into it. And I would love to see that. I'd love to see the Bills advance, whether they face Green Bay or Tampa Bay. It honestly doesn't matter. Just realize it's the battle of the Bays going on in the NFC.
Yeah. So as I told you earlier, and I told last couple of weeks since the playoffs started, I only fear 2 teams, and that was the Colts and the Titans. They're both gone for matchup reasons because I look at the matchups. Notice the Kansas City Chiefs were absent because I don't think I fear them. Since they beat us week 6, which was only by 8 points, we're not the same team. And Kansas isn't the same team either. They've gotten progressively worse. Kansas hasn't beaten anybody since then by more than 10 points. Since then, the Bills have done it 8 times. We are a juggernaut. And our offense hasn't – Josh Allen has been good. He hasn't been as great as he was during the regular season. The fact that we haven't been playing our best on offense – it's scary, and especially even with Patrick Mahomes, and he's banged up because it's not just whatever they're saying, a pinched nerve or a concussion, or but he also has the toe injury, so he's banged up no matter what. The Chiefs can be beat. Clyde Edwards-Helaire ran. We decided, hey, we're not going to let Patrick Mahomes pass on us, and we didn't let him. Our run defense is a lot better than it was week 6, and Clyde Edwards-Helaire, I don't even think he's going to play, and even if he does, he's not going to be the same, and Le'Veon Bell is washed. So I am not scared of the Chiefs at all. The only thing that scares me about them is their secondary. Hopefully we can get our running game going, but John Brown is now here in the game. He wasn't in that week 6 matchup. He'll be here this time. And Brandon says, do you think that the Bills can handle Rodgers playing the way he's playing right now? I'll be honest with you. I don't know. Aaron Rodgers just he's just that great. And it's not only that he's just that great, he's that great this year. It's like he's reached like Super Saiyan somehow. Like somehow he's just so Green Bay it absolutely scares me. I think we can beat, and I'm rooting for the Bucks just for the my brother Ty is a Bucks fan, and that'd be great for the network, have a network Super Bowl.
Hell yeah.
But get the Bills getting revenge on Tom Brady would just be poetic justice for me. So I'm rooting for that matchup because I think we can beat the Buccaneers as well. And I would love for the Bills. I didn't like that Tom Brady left because I thought our team this year could have competed with the Tom Brady-led New England Patriots. I kind of wanted to take over the division the natural way.
Yeah.
But I'll take anything. Even if Patrick Mahomes is out, listen, I don't care what you say about me. I don't care what anybody says, because if you're disagreeing with what I'm about to say, you're a liar. When Patrick Mahomes went out, if you were a Browns fan or a Bills fan or a Packers fan, you were jumping with joy. I was like, yes, yeah, I'll take it. I don't care if he's hurt. I don't believe in cheap wins. Hey, this is football, baby. If
it wasn't dirty, right? It wasn't dirty. It wasn't like
no, it wasn't dirty. It was just it was just the way he went down.
It is what it is. That's the game. That's the thing. That is the game. It is what it is. Like, I can understand if it was a late hit or helmet to helmet or even like, like personal roughness or anything like that. But like, it was just the game. So, I mean, if he goes out, like, yes, of course, any Browns fan was just like, oh my God, this could be the key. And it almost was. But, we have to, I don't want to skip over how well the Browns played collectively, because I still think they played well. And I think that team has a very bright future ahead of them, provided they can keep Odell out of their lineup. Because honestly, they've
Ravens and the Browns. I know inter-division trades are rare, but the Ravens and Browns probably should try to work out something to get Odell out of there. And the Ravens need a number one receiver. I think the Browns can kind of hold him hostage. But I know that there's some other good number ones out there that are available. Allen Robinson from the Bears. It sounds like it's probably going to be his. He's probably going to make some noise in the offseason and try to get out of there. We he started to do it a little bit during the season and decided to be a good soldier and ride it out. And I don't think he would kind of renege on that unless he was like, I'm just going to wait for the season to be over and then I'll make my noise. Yeah. So we'll see. The Ravens need a number one. Look at the teams that are left in the playoffs. They all have number one receivers, and the Browns thought Hollywood Brown was that, and he's not even like Hollywood Missouri Brown. Like he's not even like whatever, like, there's like a random Miami out in like Oklahoma somewhere. He's not Hollywood, California. He's like Hollywood, South Dakota. Yeah. And so we'll see. Yeah, absolutely. Rodgers. Yeah. I mean, the Packers are on another level.
I mean, I don't know. Look, again, Giant fan. We beat Tom Brady twice, one of which he was on a tear with an undefeated season. So it's one of those things where anything could happen. And honestly, even if the Bills advance and go against Rodgers, I'd still feel somewhat confident with the way they've been playing. And, it is what it is. But what you love to see too, if we're still staying on the Bills, and I'm surprised we didn't mention this at our best stuff from sports, is Bills Mafia, probably proving that they are one of the most, or the best fan base, not just for everybody in the Buffalo region, but everybody everywhere. I mean, first it started with, of course, supporting their quarterback and donating towards, Josh Allen's grandmothers who had passed away, but now going and donating to Lamar Jackson and after a loss too, and showing the class. Philly fans, take note of the class that is going on. And look, as a Giant fan, I'll take note too. Look, we're not angels, but like my goodness, you love to see it. You love to see sports bringing people together like this.
Yeah. And it actually started with Andy Dalton a couple of years ago when Tyrod Taylor was the quarterback, and we needed the Bengals to beat the Ravens to get into the playoffs after a 17-year drought. And they did that for us, and we donated a lot of money to Andy Dalton's charity. And we've been doing it every year to somebody who's been helping us out. We've just been donating. It's a good tradition that the Bills Mafia has. It's really great to see. So rooting for the Bills. I think we have what it takes this year. The Bills have been dangerous all year. I've been telling you guys, we are a complete team. I can't wait for this Chiefs game. Whether Mahomes plays or not, I think it'll be an all-time classic, and I can't wait. I know that I don't take moral victories, but even if we lose, I'll be very, very satisfied with how our season went. Yeah. I think next year we need to work on offensive line or adding a better running back. I'm not really me and my Bills brethren have disagreed on our running game. A lot of people like Devin Singletary. I don't, but we'll see. We're going to have to establish the run somehow at some point. And last game he did well. I will give him that. We need to lean. We abandoned the run in the first half, but I think once we were protecting our lead and being safe, he was more comfortable. So hopefully that'll give him momentum until.
Well, look, you need a run game for two reasons. One, you need to save that arm, plain and simple. You don't want to burn out Josh Allen. But two, I mean, it can play into game management and clock management after a while. Why risk the throw? So yeah, I mean, I'm with you on the agree disagree thing, because like I understand the importance of a need for the run, but with the way you've been playing kind of without a solid run game, I mean, I think you've been doing okay. But I mean, who's to say? Let's focus on this week. And I know right now you have the happy tingles going on right now. You're drunk over the fact that you're playing for this game, but come this weekend, man, and knowing what it's like, the pit inside the stomach while watching, and just the nerves and the sweat, I'll be with you, man. I'm rooting for him.
Thank you. I appreciate it. All right. One more bit of business before we move on to the bucket of doom. Top 5 bottom 3 NBA teams have been absorbing a lot of NBA. So here is my top 5 bottom 3 teams. I was tempted to move a team, but I'm doing this every week. So I'll let you know that Brooklyn is probably going to move up my list by the end of or by next week. But my first team is the 10-3 Los Angeles Lakers. They're the best team until somebody proves that they're not. I mean, and it probably can't happen to the postseason. So unless somebody goes down with an injury, if they keep playing the way they're playing, I mean, even if they don't, to be honest with you, I know they just, I think they're 10-4. Actually, they just lost somehow to the Golden State Warriors. Golden State's turning it on, but we'll see what happens. But LeBron's LeBron. Anthony Davis is Anthony Davis. That's a juggernaut team. I don't know how they got that much better in the offseason with some of their ancillary pieces, but it's happening. Number 2, Milwaukee Bucks. I know they just lost to Brooklyn, everybody. You Brooklyn Nets fans who are somehow creeping out of the woodwork all of a sudden, stay out of my mentions, okay? You guys got lucky. You won by 2 points. One game does not make a number 2 team make. Milwaukee's been incredible all year. And you can tell that the chemistry is not down with Drew Holiday and Giannis, and that'll come, but they've still been dominant. Brooklyn, number 3. I mean, Harden had a triple-double in his first game.
You hate to see it. Like, that's one of the things where you absolutely hate to see it.
But here's the thing with James Harden. It's like he's off the hook now. You can't rate him the same as you did before because now he's not the guy. You know what I'm saying? Like,
100%.
And it's like, okay, yeah, he got the triple-double, but he got it. And even though he was getting them before, they're going to overrate what he's doing in Brooklyn because Kevin Durant's there. Even though he made a mess on his way out of Houston. It's just like he's going to get a lot of praise. Kyrie isn't there yet. He's supposedly going to play tomorrow on Wednesday. So that will be the test. Let's see, because you could tell there's a lot of when Kyrie and Kevin Durant were playing, there was a lot of, okay, your turn, my turn, your turn, my turn. Durant can play off the ball. James Harden still looks uncomfortable doing it. Obviously, I'm not expecting him to shake off 13 years or however long he's been playing of like all of a sudden switching out. It'll be interesting when Kyrie's there because Kyrie and James Harden are very similar. They need the ball in their hands. They're not very good defensive players. They're not very good off-ball players on offense. So we will see how that works. Number 4, I do have the Philadelphia 76ers. They are a legitimate threat, and they're still working out the pieces. I mean, all of we have the steal of the draft in Tyrese Maxey. Seth Curry averaging 17 points is huge for us. And I know a lot of fans are upset with Ben Simmons, but he's still a defensive juggernaut. He is. And Joel Embiid's playing like an MVP. That team is complete. They just have to play more games together. This COVID thing that hit him early, I'm glad it hit him early. Hopefully it stays out of it for the rest of the year. But other than that, the Sixers are legit. Not an Eastern Conference threat, a NBA title threat. Once they get all their pieces together.
Hey man, it's a marathon, not a race. So I mean, just let them gel, and they'll go from there.
Rounding out the top 5 is the Los Angeles Clippers. Pandemic P, preseason P is actually playing pretty good. Not gonna lie, like he was in Oklahoma City, where he was playing at a near MVP level. Kawhi Leonard's still Kawhi Leonard. They look like the championship contender they were supposed to be. I was a little nervous about their offseason, but they seem to be clicking addition by subtraction, I guess. I was very, 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 very tempted to put the Mavericks in that 5th spot because Luka Doncic is great. If you guys harken back to our white excellence draft, I called Luka Doncic already the greatest white player in NBA history, and he's proven me right every season. You can find the white excellence draft in its entirety on the Give Us a Shot Network's YouTube page. It was one of the best things we've ever done. The Celtics almost made it. The Suns, the Jazz, they're right outside looking in. So that's them. Bottom three, Washington Wizards, Jesus, somebody, anybody in the NBA, free Bradley Beal. He deserves so much better than the Washington Wizards. It's like, and then half their team has already had COVID. It's a mess down there in Washington. I feel bad for Bradley Beal. Get him out of there. 29 Minnesota Timberwolves. The best thing about them is that the Golden State Warriors actually have the Timberwolves first pick. So the Warriors should absolutely tank. Mm-hmm. And then because they're going to get the Timberwolves pick from the trade, I think 2 years ago, and then they're going to get their own pick. So yeah,
but only if they tank though, right? Like if they,
yeah. Well, the Timberwolves don't have to tank. They're just not a good team. They lost Karl Anthony Towns for a little while. So, but that's what happens when you rebuild. It just is what it is. But that's why Brooklyn's going to be in trouble when they gave away all those first round picks, because a situation like this, where they're going to actually need that first lottery pick, first round pick, and it's gone. So
I mean, you can tell they're stacking to try to win a title and then sit on that for the next couple of years. So I mean, they're built for.
Well, I mentioned on overtime they only have really, 2 years, right? Harden only has a year left on his deal. Durant and Irving have 2 years left, and so assuming, Harden's 30, they're all in their 30s. Like 2024 is when all the draft picks they gave away start to stack up. By then, who knows? That's why it's hard. I know the Sixers were the Rockets were trying to grab Ben Simmons, Tyrese Maxey, and 3 first-round picks for James Harden. I was like, geez, there's no way. So I'm glad the Sixers didn't do that. Bottoming out the worst team in the league, the Detroit Pistons. You have like 50 big men on your roster. I don't know what you thought was going to happen. Blake Griffin is untradeable, which is sad. It's over for him.
Yeah.
I don't know. The Detroit Pistons, you're the worst team in the league, and it's not even close. So that is the top 5, bottom 3 for this week. All right, Bert, this is it, man.
Let's get to it.
Here we go.
I'm excited because I need the Bills to come out for me. Otherwise, I'm not going to be comfortable, I think. And because
the Bills are the only team you're comfortable. Yeah, because I would be comfortable with the Packers more so than the Bills. But I'll be honest, this is the most exciting conference championships we've had in a while. Each day
it can go either way. That's the thing, if you look at all the teams on paper, but you
have the 2 old guys, greatest, who are argued to be the greatest of their position, and Aaron Rodgers and Tom Brady on one side playing each other. Then you have the future, okay? Because Patrick Mahomes, obviously, he's head and shoulders above everybody. I'll give him that. But if you're redoing that 2018 draft, you're taking Josh Allen ahead of Baker and Lamar, certainly of Sam Darnold. I think we posted on the social page that 4 of the top 5 rated quarterbacks are playing this weekend of the season. It was Mahomes or Rodgers, Mahomes at number 1 and 2, and then Brady was 4. And Allen was 5. Number 3 was Deshaun Watson.
Yeah,
which is insane.
Yeah.
Now, before we get to that, here we go. Here's some scenarios for you, and I want you to pick. And everybody, whoever's watching, let me know. You have 3 options. Would you rather have? And obviously, it'll be going for more, but this is the main parts of a trade package. Would you rather have Tua and the 3rd pick back from Miami for Deshaun, or Sam Darnold in the 2nd pick from the New York Jets? Or would you rather just do a straight up swap, the number 1 overall pick from Jacksonville to Houston for Deshaun Watson? If you're Houston, which one would you want?
I'd probably do the Miami package. Look, Sam Darnold has proved that he's not an elite quarterback whatsoever. Tua, the Dolphins gave him a chance, and you saw glimmers of hope. Plus, you get a 2nd rounder. Or the 2nd pick overall. So I'd go with that, plain and simple. Here's the thing: they know they need a quarterback. So even with the 1st round pick, and you know who you're going to get, it's still a crapshoot. You never these quarterbacks. You never No. So I'd rather go with a guy like Tua and a second pick than anything else. That's just me. Plus, I want to see Deshaun in Miami. I think that's where he's best suited. Plain and simple. I think they can really build around him. I saw that the Jets could be interested, and that would be like suicidal. Like, just why bother going to that team when they know they have the management issues and they've never really built right around anybody. So,
as a Bills fan, I would be absolutely terrified if Deshaun Watson ended up with the 10-5 Miami Dolphins. That team is good. Much like the Saints. It's odd to say with the Saints, but they were a quarterback away. That team was capable of winning the Super Bowl this year. The only thing that was holding them back was the quarterback. So Miami, same thing. He's talking about James Harden. No, James. No, Brandon. We dodged a bullet there. Trust me, buddy. Not for no 3 first rounds, Tyrese Maxey and Ben Simmons. Nah, maybe for Ben Simmons straight up and maybe a first, but not all that. Oh my God, I hope not. I
don't know what they would have to offer.
I don't think they really have anything. I think they messed all that stuff up. The best they can probably hope for is trying to get Jimmy Garoppolo back or Jacoby Brissett or something of that nature. Yeah. Brandon's right. I'm guessing he means about the James Harden thing. So in the bucket of doom, ours truly, Bert is in there, Ty's in there, Josh is in there, and our buddy Brandon is in there. So since Brandon is here, I will give Brandon the very first pick. All right. So there's only 4 helmets. Let me give it a nice swirl here. All right, Brandon, this is it, buddy. Second to last pick. The Tampa Bay Buccaneers for Brandon. Whew. Man. All right, let's see. Bert, when do you want to go? I'll just give it to you. You want the last pick?
I want the last. So let's do Josh, Ty, then me.
Okay, so Josh has the Kansas City Chiefs. Whew. Wow. All right. Here we go. Ty has the Buffalo Bills, which means
I get the Packers.
Has the Packers.
Let's go.
So here we go. The final 4 is set. Oh, Brandon wanted the Bills. I feel you, man. Listen, everybody's riding high on the Bills. The Bills have a really good defense. They can win the Super Bowl. It really just depends on what version of Josh Allen we get. I'm a little nervous about some of the play calling, but Josh Allen hasn't really given us the playoff game yet. Part of me is hoping that he's saving the best for last. The fact I think not playing at home. I'm nervous about the Kansas City game because they have a lot more fans there than the Bills would be allowed to have. I think the Bills Mafia being there in the stadium has helped them a little bit. So it'll be interesting to see how they play on the road with fans like that. But I don't think I foresee any problems. I am praying that Patrick Mahomes is out for whatever reason. I don't care what it is, but NFL's rigged. I don't think they're not going to let Patrick Mahomes not play in this game. It's too much. There's too much at stake here for the NFL.
I don't think he's going to find any way, shape, and form to play, to at least start that game and go from there. Yeah. But you better believe this week Chad Henne's taking reps, and he's taking a lot of them to prepare.
Listen, I don't condone going out there and hurting people.
No.
Sign somebody off the practice squad and hurt Patrick Mahomes. Just knock him out late. Just helmet to helmet right in the face. I don't care how we do it. We are 1 game away from the Super Bowl, and we need to get there, baby. So I am condoning one time only. Take Patrick Mahomes out because we need to win, and I'll do it by any means necessary. I don't care. I'm a Bills fan, and I want to win. Do it, Sean. Do it if you have the guts. So hopefully we got it. The bucket of doom. Brandon has the Buccaneers. Who has the Chiefs? Who did we say?
Josh has the Chiefs.
Josh has the Chiefs. I has the Bills. Bert has the Packers. We will see this weekend who is advancing not only to the Super Bowl, but who are going to be the last 2 in the bucket of doom for our grand prize pack. Bert, do you have anything else for us tonight?
Good. Thank you, everybody, again, for following us over to YouTube and watching. We always love to see the interaction. It's what it's here for. We want to hear your thoughts all throughout, and you guys never disappoint. So huge thank you, and we'll see you all next week.